Hey everyone, it's Krystallee here. So how do you cope with stress? And why are coping strategies important when we're experiencing stress? Well, what people don't realize is stress is an invisible disease. It actually can cause more damage than you even notice because we don't pay any attention to it. We just think it's always there and it's normal and natural. And although there are some good levels of stress, which makes us do things or change things, at this day and age, more people are experiencing more stress in their lives. So it's not a natural, healthy level of stress that most people are experiencing. They're actually experiencing detrimental levels of stress. And when they don't cope really well with stress, this can really tear up the interior environment of our body. It damages our cells, it ages us significantly, and it can really bring on some serious health issues that we may not even be aware of, that stress was the triggering point of why these occurred. So when you're thinking about stress, rather than disregarding it, maybe it's something that you need to pay more attention to, of how the stress is actually affecting your life and the accumulation of stress. And without far superior coping skills to deal with this, it's gonna start creating havoc and just ruining your quality of life. So what we don't know is how we cope with stress. And what we don't know is that the way that we know how to cope with stress is hurting us. And your ways of coping with stress has developed from a really young age. It's what you saw in your childhood, what you experienced in life. You've adapted some of those coping skills from examples that you were given in life through perhaps school or friends and family life. Experiences that you've gone through. So you've developed these coping strategies, some inherited and some learned from other people, and maybe they don't serve you anymore. Maybe they don't work. Perhaps they weren't really good to begin with. And these are some things that you need to bring awareness to how you deal with stress. And I'll just use myself as an example, because we all experience this as individuals, is that stress really can overtake us without us even being aware. And if you don't notice it, or even if you do notice it and just make an excuse to suggest that you just need to live this way, then it's gonna really take your body into a crisis state, because you're in this constant mode of drumming up those cortisol levels, and that can really do some damage to your body chemistry inside. So I was in an environment that was very stressful. I was in it all the time, every day, 24 hours a day. And I just thought this is what life was like, because nobody coached me when I was younger. No one taught me that there was a different way. This is what I knew. This is the world through my eyes. And when I got older and I was able to take responsibility for my life, when I was able to make decisions that influenced my life differently, then I realized that I didn't have to live this way. But it took a lot of work to undo things that were learned, because this was my ingrained patterns. This was my way of being. And so I let go of all resistance to change. And because I wanted the change so badly, I went ahead and did that. And I allowed it to happen. And I allowed myself to develop some coping strategies that better suited me. And what I noticed, coping strategies that really helped, was the breathing. That was so huge in my life. Having a mode of exercise and movement was incredibly important to me. Having a good environment around me. And that means with the people around me, with where I live, how I dress, how I present myself, what I did with my time. All of that played a role in coping, because that helped me feel better. When the environment around you is cultivated in a way that it suits you, that it meets your needs, then this can set you up to deal with stress on a better level. But when it's in a negative state, when it's in a state of disrepair and turmoil and negativity, this can really damage you in a way where it can amplify the stress that you're experiencing in life and take it to a new level and start, like I said, degrading your body in so many ways. So our environment on the outside is just as important to cultivate that environment inside. And when we have that outside reflect the inside, then it's the same. It can balance on the same level. But we have to be aware that that is a problem to begin with in our lives. And then we have to take the steps in order to undo that trained way of thinking, which is deeply embedded in our mind. And it certainly is possible. I'm a walking, talking example of that. And that's why I'm so passionate about the human mind and the thoughts that we think and the environment that we create in our mind, because our environment in our mind is our reality that we live. So we really have to design that and shape that into what we want that to be. And that's how you can work at coping with stress. If you can design that environment in your mind to be exactly how you want to deal with stress, how you want the outcomes of stress, and how you want the stress to affect you on a daily level. So when you're looking at coping skills, and if you don't have really good ones right now, that's okay. But find somebody that can work with your thoughts, work with your thinking, work with your habits, and change some of those so they can work for you, so you can start healing yourself from the inside out. And it does take your participation, your desire, and your effort to do this, and it has to come from within. And when you shape the inside, it shapes the outside. So comment below on some coping skills maybe that you don't like right now that you have, and what you'd like to see, and get in touch with me if you want to learn more. I hope you're able to get some value out of that today. I'll see you soon.